All right, so for this section, we're going to talk about dimension analysis and conversions. Okay, and so it's going to cover these particular sections in your book. All right, so but before we do that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about identity ratios. All right, so what is an identity ratio? Identity ratio. Okay. And this is a very important term, right? So what is an identity ratio? So basically, we're dealing with conversions. So let's say we have, 1 yard, right? 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Okay. And depending on what we're trying to see here, give me a second. Okay, so again, if we have 1 yard equals 3 feet, we can write this two ways. Okay, so depending on what we're trying to obtain, what units we're trying to convert to. So we can write it as 1 yard over 3 feet, or we can write it as 3 feet over 1 yard. Okay, again, this is essential, especially when we do dosage analysis. Okay, which I'm hoping to get to today. So anyway, so this is what identity ratio means, that you can write it in two ways, right? Now, just to kind of refresh your memory, so let's say we have x squared times y times z to the third power divided by x times z to the third power. Okay, so if we were to break this down, all right, if we were to break this down, it would be x times y, and there's three z's. Okay, the denominator will be x times, again, three z's. All right, so if we're trying to simplify this, what we need to do is we would need to eliminate or pair up the ones that are on the top and the bottom, right, in order to cancel them. All right, so in this case, I can eliminate x, one of the x's, right? So I can limit this x with this x, and then I can limit all the z's because this z is paired up with this z, so I can eliminate that. This z is paired up with this z, I can eliminate that. This z is paired up with this z, so I can eliminate that. So that leaves us with just x times y as our answer, right? So if we're, again, eliminating, all right? Again, I'm going to keep doing this just to hit home that this is what you're going to be doing when we do the dimension analysis. So let's say we have A times B times C, and we have A times B. All right. What's going to be our answer there? Okay. So again, this A is going to eliminate or pair up with this A, so they're going to cancel each other. This B is going to cancel with this. So we have C left over. All right. And just to bring it home, so let's say we have 9 times x times a house, okay, divided by 7 times a house times a smiley face, okay? So this is just practicing units, that we're going to cancel units, okay? So obviously, the houses here are going to cancel, okay? Because that's the only thing they have in common. All right, and so then we're left with just 9 times x, or 9x, and 7 over divided by 7 over divided by 7 smileys. Okay, all right. So again, that's basically what you're going to be doing here when we're doing conversions and dimensional analysis, is you're trying to match what's on the top and the bottom, cancel them out, and whatever is left over is going to be your final units. Okay. So let's do an example. All right. It says here a meteor crashed onto a planet and caused a crater that was 536.451 yard deep. Okay, use a table of facts to find the depth of the crater in inches. So make sure that you are using, all right, the conversions that I provided for you in the resources. Okay, don't search anything else. Don't Google it or anything like that because the answers are going to be based, especially on your final, on those conversion sheets that I provided for you. Okay, so oh, I found something else that this converts to that. Don't use it. You need to use the ones that are provided in the formula sheets. Okay. All right. So again, we want to convert this from yards to inches. Okay. So how I tell students to solve this is we're going to start or write down what we're given. So that's the 536.451 yards. And I put that over 1. Do you have to do that? No, but it's going to help me when I try to eliminate the units. Okay. And so we need to multiply this by some conversions. And then the end, we want this in inches. Okay. Let's see if we can figure this one out. Okay, so for this section or these notes, we're going to be using this formula sheet a lot. All right. And as well as this formula sheet. Okay. And then you're allowed to use these formulas on your final. So anyway, this formula sheet and this formula sheet. So again, that's what you want to use when you work out these problems. All right. So in this case, all right, again, we need to use the formulas that we have. We can't just Google it, and that's not going to help you on your final. So, so anyway, so in this case, we need two conversions here. All right, so we already note that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And the other one that we need is that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Okay. And so now you need to use identity ratios to figure out, okay, which one goes at where, so I can start eliminating the units. Okay. Um, do you have to do it this way? No, but it does help a lot when we have multiple conversions. All right. So the way that people do it can only take you so far. So I really recommend learning it this method here. But again, you choose what you want to do. So, so in this case, again, I have a yard on top. So in order for me to eliminate the yards, I would have to have the yard on the bottom, right? So that means the 3 feet will need to go on top, right? So I need to use this first. So I'll have the 3 feet over 1 yard, okay? So that's going to eliminate the yards, okay? Now I can use the other one. 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Again, I want to match the foot there. So that means I need to put the 1 foot on the bottom, okay, and then put the 12 inches on top. That's how I do it. Okay. All right. So then the feet will cancel. All right. So you can give me 20 million conversions as long as I follow this pattern. All right. I'll get the answer. Okay. So, so we want inches, and that's what's left over is inches. Okay. And then now we just multiply. So we multiply fractions, we multiply everything on the top, and then multiply everything on the bottom, and then we divide. All right. So again, we multiply everything on the top, and then multiply everything on the bottom, and then we divide. All right. So the top there, when we multiply everything out, we get 19312.2. Okay. The bottom is just 1, right? Because 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. right? So then our final answer is 193.12 inches, right? And that's our final answer. Okay, it says, as part of an annual fundraiser to help raise money for diabetes research, Susan joined the bikeathon. The track she biked on was 1,320 yards long. Susan biked 40 laps. Her sponsors agreed to donate an amount of money for each mile she biked. How many miles did she bike? Okay, so how do we do this? So again, I want to write down what I'm given first, okay? Most of the time. All right, so we have the 1,320 yards, so 1,320 yards over one, okay? And I want to go from that to miles. So my output is miles. So I need, I know again, there's 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. And if you look at your chart, it tells us that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. Okay. All right. So I need to use these conversions to get my output. So I want to get rid of the yards. So I'm going to use this first. So again, I want to match the yard from the top and have one in the bottom in order to cancel them. So I have the 1 yard here. So again, so I can cancel these guys. Okay. And then I put the 3 feet on top. All right. So I'm done with that one. So now I can use this one. This one is 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So again, I have feet here. So that means I need to put the feet on the bottom here. So 5,280 feet. So then I can cancel these guys. Okay. And then I'm left with the 1 mile. And that's what I want. I want miles. Okay. All right, then I just multiply everything. Remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply everything on the top, and then we multiply everything on the bottom, and then we divide the two. Okay? All right, so when we do that, we get an answer of 0.75 miles. Okay, that's our answer there. All right. However, that's for 1 lap. She biked 40 laps, right? So this is 0.70 miles per lap. But she did 40 laps. So we just multiply this by 40 at the end. All right, and that gives us 30 miles. Okay, it says here Boris cut 4 1/3 yards of fishing line from a new reel. How much is this in inches? Okay, so what do we need to do here? So first we need to convert this, right? We got 4 1/3. So if you remember, right, in order to convert this to an improper fraction, this is a proper fraction, we multiply the 4 and 3 and then we add 1, right? So 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 gives us 13. So this is going to be 13 over 3 yards. Okay? Put the yards on the top there. All right. Now, again, the rest is the same as before. So we want to convert from yards to inches. So we know that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. Okay. And then we know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Right. So again, I want to make sure that I have 1 unit on the top and 1 unit on the bottom that are the same so I can cancel them. Right. So the yards cancel, the feet cancel, and we're left with inches. And then we just multiply everything on the top and then multiply everything on the bottom. So when we do that, we get an answer of 156 inches. Okay, next slide here says Latoya's racehorse weighs 490 kilograms. Use the facts to find how much this is in grams. And then the second part here says a multivitamin tablet contains 18.5 milligrams of calcium. How much calcium does a bottle of 50 tablets contain? Write your answer in grams. All right, so we need to use these conversions here to figure this out. All right, so we want to convert kilograms to grams, right? And so if we look at here on our conversion facts, it tells us that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Okay, so that's the conversion we need to use. So we'll start off with the 490 kilograms divided by 1. All right, and again, what needs to go on the bottom? The kilograms or the grams? Right? Exactly. It's going to be the kilograms, right? Because we want to get rid of the kilograms. So we need to put 1 kilogram in the denominator. Okay. So this cancels with this one. All right. And then we put the 1,000 grams on the top. Okay. All right. So then we just multiply. So 490 times 1,000 is going to give us 490,000. Okay, and divided by 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. So we just get the same thing. So the answer is 490,000 grams. Okay. All right, the second one here says, again, we have a multivitamin tablet contains 18.5 milligrams of calcium. How much calcium um, does a bottle of 50 tablets contain? Okay, so how do we do this one? So again, I'm going to start off with the 18.5 milligrams divided by 1. And then I need to use my conversion here. So I want to get rid of the milligrams. So that means I need to use this conversion here, right? And I need to put the milligrams on the bottom because I want to cancel the milligrams. So I have 1,000 milligrams and the one on top is 1 gram. Okay. So then the milligrams are going to cancel. All right. So when we do that, we'll get, when we multiply these two, we get 0.0185 grams. Okay. And that's for 1 tablet. And there's 50 tablets. So we need to multiply this by 50. Okay. So that gives us 0.925 grams. Okay, this next slide we have, it says a water tower has a volume of 624 kiloliters. Find how many cubic decimeters of water it would take to completely fill the water tower. Use the table of conversion facts as needed. All right, so again, we're going to start off with 624 kiloliters over 1. All right, and we need to get rid of the kiloliters, so we need this conversion here. So that's going to give me, I need the kiloliters eliminated, so I need to put the kiloliters on the bottom and then 1,000 liters on the top. Okay, so the kiloliters are gone. And then I need to convert this to cubic decimeters. So it tells me that 1 cubic decimeter is equal to 1 liter. So I can just, well, I need to limit the liters, so I'll have to put the 1 liter down here and put 1 decimeter, 1 cubic decimeter on the top. Okay, so then the liters will cancel. Okay, so we get the 624,000 cubic decimeters. All right, so this next one, these next set of problems are going to be dealing with area and volume. Okay. So first, before we attack this problem, let's think about a sheet of paper. Okay. So if you have a sheet of paper, okay, all right, and the dimensions of the sheet of paper is 8.5 by 11 inches. So 8.5 by 11 inches. Okay. And if you wanted to find out the area of this sheet of paper, we just multiplied, right? The base times the height. Okay. So in this case would have 8.5 inches on the bottom and then 11 inches for the height. Okay. Let me rewrite that here. So 8.5 inches times 11 inches. Okay. So when we multiply this, we get 93.5, and we say this as square inches. All right. I know the square is at the end, but the proper way of saying this is square inches. Okay. Square always comes first. All right. So what does this mean? Square inches. Well, if you just take a square, right? And this is 1 inch by 1 inch. This is 1 square inch. Okay, 1 square inch. And it's telling me that this square inch, there are 93.5 of them in here. So if I were to draw this, all these little squares, right, there will be 93.5 of these squares that you could put on the sheet of paper. So that's what literally it means. Okay. All right. So that's what area is involved or talks about. So here what we want to do is we want to find it says a rally poster is a rectangle 36 inches long and 24 inches wide. We want to cover the poster with glitter. The coverage of each tube of glitter is measured in square feet. So first we want to find the area of the poster in square feet. Okay. And it says if we want to cover the poster with glitter, we don't have any to begin with, and we can't buy partial tubes of glitter. Each tube of glitter covers 0.7 square feet. How many whole tubes of glitter will we need to buy in order to completely cover the poster? All right, so let's go back to the first part here. We want to find the area, right? And we just talked about that. To find the area, you just multiply base times height or the length times the width, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So I get 36 times 24. Again, you have to make sure that they're all in the same unit. So if one was in, centimeters or something like that, you would have to convert it to inches first. Um, so you can multiply them. Okay, so be aware of that. So sometimes they might trick you and say this was 36 inches and this was a different length or a different measurement or units. So you have to convert it in order to multiply it first. Okay, so they're both inches, so we're okay. All right, so when we do that, we get 864, and then this is square inches. Okay. All right. We want to find the area of the poster in square feet. That's our main goal, right? Right now it's in square inches. So we know that from the previous problems that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches, right? We already know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So in order to do this, we need to multiply it by this, right? So this is over 1, so 1 foot over 12 inches. Now we need to be careful because we're talking about area, all right? All the other problems were one dimensional. That's why you only multiply one time. But this is two-dimensional, okay? So that means we need to multiply our conversions twice. So we got to do 1 foot over 12 inches again because we're talking in 2D now, okay? All right, so when we do that, again, this is square inches, so that's going to eliminate these inches in the bottom. And our answer here would be 6 So this would be 6 square feet for this one, 6 square feet. Okay, the next part says each tube of glitter covers 0.7 square feet. All right, so all we need to do now is just take the 6 square feet and divide it by 0.7 to find out how many tubes, right? Because it's how many whole tubes of glitter will we need to buy in order to completely cover the poster. So we just take the 6 square feet that we got on A. So 6 over 1. All right. And well, actually, we can just divide, right? Because 6 square feet and then each tube is 0.7. So we'll just divide that by 0.7. Okay. So then the square feet will catch. Well, 6 divided by 7 is going to be about 8 8.571, okay, which is about 9 tubes, right? Because you can't buy part of a tube, you have to buy the whole tube. Right? And this question says, part C, if each tube of glitter costs $3, how much will we need to spend on glitter? So we just take the $9 multiplied by 3. That gives us $27. Okay, it says here, the construction crew for a new store will dig a hole in the shape of a rectangular prism for the store's foundation. The hole, the hole will be 15 yards long, 11 yards wide, and 2 yards deep. To haul away all the dirt from the hole, a dump truck will take trips to a nearby landfill. The crew knows the amount of dirt the truck can hold each trip in cubic feet. Oh, the crew knows the amount of dirt the truck can hold each trip in cubic feet. A, find the volume of dirt that will haul away in cubic feet. Okay. B, each trip the truck can haul 290 cubic feet, okay, of dirt. To save gas, the crew wants to take as few steps as necessary to haul all the dirt away. Okay. So how many trips are needed to haul away all of the dirt? And C, if it costs $1,075 for each trip that the truck makes, how much will it cost to haul away all the dirt? Okay, so let's do this. So we need to find the volume first, okay? So to find the volume, it's a rectangular prism, okay? So that's just length times width times height, right? So we just multiply these three together, okay? And again, make sure that all units are the same. If not, if one of them is not the same, then you have to convert that first to make sure all the units are the same, okay? So when we do this, we get 15 times 11 times 2, which gives us 330 cubic yards. Okay. Right. So you would say cubic yards. Right. So you say the cubic first. Okay. So we want to find this in cubic feet, and this is in cubic yards. So we already know that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. Okay, so I gotta put this over 1. But again, we're dealing with volume, so notice there's a power of 3, right? And if we look at the previous problem, we had a power of 2. So that power of 2 told us we need to multiply by the conversions twice because we're dealing with area. So this 3 should be an indicator for you to help you remember that now we need to do it 3 times because we're dealing with volume. Okay. So 3 feet over 1 yard, 3 feet over 1 yard. Okay. And then 3 feet over 1 yard. Okay. All right, so again, the cubic yards are going to cancel with this, right? There's three of them, so all three of these guys are going to cancel. So we're left with the cubic feet because again, there's 3 feet here, so we're going to have cubic feet there. Anyway, so we multiply this out, we get 8,910 cubic feet. Okay, over one, which is still going to give us the same amount. Okay, so again, we say cubic feet. Okay, part B. We talked about, it says that each trip of truck can haul 290 cubic feet of dirt. And we need to figure out how many trips are needed to haul away the dirt. Okay, so all we need to do is take the 8910 and divide it by 290. Okay, so 290, just 290. So when we do that, we get 30. About 30.7. Okay. So again, we need to find out how many trips are needed to haul away. So um if we said 30, it's not going to be enough because we still got 0.7 of dirt we need to get rid of. So in this case, we round up and that gives us 31. Okay. So 31 trips. All right, and the last one here says, if it costs $1,075 for each trip that truck makes, how much will it cost to haul away all the dirt? All right, so we just multiply the 31 that we got. And multiply by 1,075. So when we do that, we get $33,325. Okay, it says to raise money for a charity, Hong and some friends are hiking across the continent of Asia. While out on the trail one day, one of his friends asks Hong for the temperature. He glances at his precision sports watch and sees that the temperature is 63.2 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature in degrees Celsius? Okay, so anyway, so this one, all we need to do is convert it from degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. And we do have a conversion for that. And that's just going to be C is equal to 59 times by F minus 32. Okay. I wanted to point this out because remember when we put this in a calculator, we need to do what's inside the parentheses first and then multiply by the 5/9. Okay. So if you're not getting the correct answer, it's not because you're not putting it in the order that needs to be solved. Okay. So this one is, I believe, is pretty straightforward. F is 63.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to replace that by F. Replace 63.2 um, for the F there, and then subtract 32. Okay. So when we put this in the calculator, that's just going to give us 17.33 degrees Celsius.